making this convenient. GTB, achieve more.
Galaxy International School Uganda is a co-educational Cambridge school with 2 campuses located in Laboa, Kampala, and newly opened campus in Jinja. There is a boarding section for both boys and girls at both campuses, which provides a secure, comfortable, and hygienic atmosphere. We also have diverse club and sport activities for our students. Galaxy is now in Jinja with highly experienced, trained Ugandan and expatriate staff. Admission is ongoing at both campuses.
On the next episode, by
there is new Omo fast action.
But as a factor that you don't have enough land to come on crops, they are meant to cancel agreement with the company.
We are talking of 11 sugar factories set up in 10 districts.
The actual price that goes to the producer is insignificant.
I'm told they marry more wives when they sell the sugar.
Probably.
The government has to compensate us as the people of Kamali for neglect.
I have an idea.
Children's amazing ideas can lead to tough stains. There's new Omo fast action. New Omo. No one removes stains faster.
Welcome back from that short break. Now, the Uganda shilling this week reached historic against the US dollar, touching levels as low as 3,048 shillings. To many Ugandans, this could have little meaning, yet the shilling-dollar exchange rate at any one time can have an effect, especially if you buy anything imported from your second-hand shirt or blouse that toys your children will play with. Now, of course, in studio, I'm joined by our senior business reporter, Samuel Setumba, to discuss and help us understand this shilling US dollar phenomenon. Welcome to the studio, Sam.
Thank you, Sheila.
Sam, what exactly is happening? Why do we see the shilling weakening against the dollar? What's going on?
We'll keep it simple. The biggest problem came from out there, very far in America. America decided to stop allowing too many dollars to be in circulation in the world. That means the dollars were going to be fewer. So there are people called traders who did in the currency. They responded. And that's why you see that the shilling, Kenyan shilling, the kwacha, all currencies in the world are getting a beating from this decision by the Americans. We know we belong to the world. And so it is here. And then what made it worse is that Uganda's exports, which would fetch us dollars to cover up, are not doing well. And then also issues like tourism are not performing as good as they should. Also the remittances from the Cheyo people, our brothers and sisters abroad, were not did not come in hand as expected. So there was a gap. And so there's now a lot of demand of dollars where the supply is not as good.
I'd probably want to ask you why our exports are not doing well, but that probably could be a topic for another day. But I'll ask you, why is something that is happening in the United States, why should I as a Ugandan care about that? Why should I care that a shilling is weakening against the dollar?
Okay. The problem with Uganda is that we import so much. I'll ask the viewers, look at the shirt you're putting on. Is it made here? The shoe. And even if it's from Owino, is it made here? No. As long as you buy anything that is imported, the trader who sells it to you is going to use dollars to buy it from there, bring it back here, and then sell it to you in shillings.
So this is definitely going to affect everyone in the country. Let's
say you are going to go to Owino to buy a blouse or a shirt. With the way the dollar has been behaving, mean that if a trader has made an order now for second-hand clothes, that means he's going to price them a little higher because he has used more shillings to buy $1.
There have been some interventions by Bank of Uganda. I think it's now back to 2,800. Was it a slow intervention by Bank of Uganda? What would you say of Bank of Uganda's intervention? Why did they wait up to 3,000? And there were experts saying that it could even hit 3,500.
Okay, central bank says that some of the behavior of the shilling might have people who are called speculators. I don't want to complicate the things. Speculators will usually, out of just sentiments, price the shilling in a certain way for their own benefit. So central bank will wait and see whether the shilling is moving because of the American decision, or because of demand, or because of speculators. So once they are sure, then they will intervene. But also don't forget, the central bank, they are human beings. They are not God. So they have to be sure, they have to take their time. And sometimes they could be slower, sometimes faster. So
but when they're slow, that affects the country.
They don't get it right all the time on the spot. But once they intervene like they've done now,
okay,
the shilling can gain a little bit. Actually, it's 29.30, I think. Yeah.
Now, Sam, I have a question from social media. Someone asks, what is the purpose of holding a foreign currency account, and how do I benefit from the market situation at the moment? Is it a right move to change dollar to shilling?
Disclaimer, I couldn't say, you couldn't quote me and say I advise you this way, but this is what I know. If you hold a foreign exchange account, it's usually would be beneficial for you if you are doing any trade in, if you're importing, for instance, or if you're an exporter, you're earning in dollars and having that account. And yes, that would benefit you and protect you from this shilling phenomenon. But also, if you want to exchange now, it might be right to dispose of your dollars now, because the central bank has intervened and now the thing has come back down to 29.
So you'd rather hold your dollar where it is right now?
I do not know if it will go back to 3,000.
Okay, so it's a matter of waiting and seeing what happens as you play with your dollars.
Absolutely. And for Ugandans, these things called US dollar exchange rate, they have an effect on us because we import a lot. These things called inflation, they have an effect on us because the central bank uses those things to set up certain numbers which banks, for instance, if you're going to borrow, will use those ones. So inflation, exchange rate, let's do our best to get to understand them as best as we can, because somehow, either I want it or not, they affect us. For instance, before we go, there are people who are paying rent in dollars.
Yes.
That means they get shillings, convert to dollars. Those ones are going to be hit.
So what that probably brings me to our last question as we wind up. The worst that we saw in 2011 during the election, when it hit, I think, 2,900 or 2,800, and now this time 2015, which of course is a political year pretty much, are we going to see worse?
What is happening? What's happened today has nothing to do with politics. This is just pure traders and the US government making decisions, and then demand, and then there's panic. It is purely economics and finance. So I cannot say that 2011 has anything to do with it. I mean 2016.
But you can't rule out that politics, the politics that we're heading into could have as much effect as the business or the economics is having now on the dollar.
What it could affect is actually inflation. If these politicians decide to spend so much money in the election, and there's so much money out there, inflation is going to rise, and we're going to go back 2011, whereby banks will possess people's property, and then demand will go down because people are no longer confident. But it's not so much to do with the exchange rate, more to do with inflation. Perfect.
What better way to say that than, other than our senior reporter, our business reporter, Sam Setumba. Thank you so much, Sam, for joining us. And of course, if you had, at least, if you did not have an idea of what exactly is happening, we hope you've grasped something from that, and you'll be able to understand how your shilling is performing against the dollar. Let's now move on. A public fitness exercise for police officers in Busia district has caused a stir among the locals. The residents poked fun at some of the officers who failed to complete a 4-kilometer run. The physical fitness drills were passed by the police council to ensure that their officers are able to tackle criminals.
NTV tasked residents of Busia town about their thoughts on the fitness drills that police officers have been undergoing. The Busia District Police Commander Julius Gobolo also agrees with the sentiments of the locals, saying many police officers last did physical exercise when they were in training school.
The distance of 1 kilometer, why should you wait for transport?
About 150 police officers participated in the 4-kilometer road run, with some failing to complete it.
This year, being a border, it has very many challenges. So as a policeman, you must be physically fit, mentally, body-wise, you must be fit and alert. People must really feel that we have police in Busia.
A recent Police Council resolution makes it mandatory for every police officer to take part in physical exercise at least once a week. Early last month, a similar exercise took place at Kampala Central Police Station. Police bosses have many a time urged their juniors to keep physically fit so as to challenge the The plan has, however, not taken off, since very few of the leaders practice what they preach.
Of course, fitness is important to all of us. Now, some sports. Arsene Wenger believes his players' mental strength will determine whether Arsenal can finish the season on a high. Wenger's side will attempt to tighten their grip on third place in the Premier League when West Ham visit the Emirates Stadium on Saturday. Elsewhere, Joe Hart has warned Manchester City to learn the lessons of their past encounters with struggling Premier League clubs as they prepare to face Burnley at Turf Moor.
Arsenal will be looking to take advantage of faltering West Ham United and enhance their top four aspirations at the Emirates Stadium on Saturday. The Gunners are the only Champions League chasers in action and have the chance to put 4 points between them and the chasing pack. Meanwhile, second meets second from bottom in the Premier League as Manchester City visit Burnley. Both teams are in vital need of the points for their respective causes as City pursue Chelsea at the top of the table and the Clarets aim for an unlikely survival campaign. On Sunday, Premier League leaders Chelsea will turn back to domestic matters for solace this weekend when they host Southampton following their dramatic and ill-tempered elimination from the Champions League by Paris Saint-Germain in midweek. Elsewhere, Manchester United will be looking to recover from the disappointing FA Cup exit at the hands of rivals Arsenal when they host Tottenham Hotspur at Old Trafford.
So much for having chosen to join us on Ntv at One. My name is Sheila Nduwuchire, and that's all we had for you here. Have a great weekend.
Ntv, turning on your world.